Hello, my name is Pastor Perry Hill. I am the founder of Lifeline Press Center.
I am Angeline Hill. I am the Vice President of Lifeline Press Center.
I'm Vitero Hill, the founder of Safe Space.
We would like to invite you to our conference,
Impartation 2025.
A cross-generational family conference.
Our generation deserves to serve God without constraints of cultural or religious beliefs.
The purpose of this event is to bridge the gap one generation to the next. That different styles of worship are done in unison to the Divine One, and the power of God may be felt like Pentecost.
Honoring God based on who you know God to be from the depths of our hearts, that everyone will feel the love of God with no limitations.
For more information,
go to lifelinepresscenter.com
or scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Hey, family and friends that are watching, I hope y'all are well. I hope y'all are good. I would like to say that Facebook is glitching, so we're not able to stream on Facebook today. So we'll have to share that link after the show, but we're on YouTube and we're glad to be here. And we have today's episode 19. It's the second part episode. Let's see. Last Wednesday, we talked about how you all handled me being inside of a cult and how you all navigated that. And then I said, well, maybe we should do a part 2 and talk about, well, how does one even get that far? How does a person even land in such a position? So we're going to continue that conversation today. Let's see. Before we get started, let's read some comments. There's only 2 over there right now, and then we'll talk about the conference real quick, and then we'll go here. Hey, Recash, how are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're doing good. Yes.
Hi, Recash.
Okay, and then Sheridan says, "Hey, saints, ain'ts, undecideds, and lukewarms, love you all."
Now that's cute.
Right. That covers everybody. Okay. Before we get into part 2 of this, though, there is a conference coming up, and parents, would you guys like to talk about the conference?
Yes, we would. We want to talk about what we always talk about, how necessary it is. All of these episodes, all the way up to now, and the last few ones, is the prelude to the conference, talking about this family, please, bridging the gap. Where there was a division made, we're coming together where that division is, and we're bridging the gap from generation to generation, that the family can be made whole. It is the will of the Lord, just like everything else is, for us to worship, praise, and just do what the Bible says. It is the same will of God that family is restored and made whole, especially that our God, he ordained, he instituted family.
Yeah.
And so we are bringing family together again.
I love that.
Don't forget to like and share.
Oh, like, share, subscribe, and comment, please. And subscribe. Yes. Okay, social media guru. All right. All right, Dad, what do you have?
It's how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. And I use that scripture on this time because how wonderful it would be, the whole family praising God together.
Yeah.
Place in one accord.
Right.
And so we are talking about bridging the gap, but I want to also emphasize, might not be family. It might be an individual that's looking for God to move in their lives. That's looking to see a realness in the Lord.
Yeah.
That love the Lord, but somewhere down the line, they was pushed aside. This conference is for you.
Yeah.
It's a holistic conference.
Yeah.
We got therapists lining up therapists to come in. So we're doing first natural, then spiritual. We're going to shout the victory.
Oh,
Lift them up, put them down, hand clapping.
Oh, God.
Tongue talking and praising God. We got it all. Come on, come on.
Yes.
Just don't stay at home. Go on out and see what's going on in Charlotte, North Carolina. Want to see it.
But if by chance you can't make it, there will be live streaming. With small fee, we're going to set you free.
Come on. Yeah, well, there is opportunity to stream online. If you want to get more information, the QR code is beside us, and the Lifeline Prayer Center website is beside us as well. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Sheridan says, Pastor Dad has one of those deliverance voices. I could listen to both parents all day. Yeah. I love. Angel Hart says, High Hill family, I pray all is well with you this Wednesday. It is. BB Rock says, good afternoon, Hill family. How are you, BB Rock?
Hello.
And Creepy says, hey, happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday.
Green hearts.
Yeah. Yeah. Green hearts. Right. The green hearts. I love. Okay. So wowzers. We had a wonderful conversation last Wednesday concerning how you all navigated. So with wisdom, but yes, ma'am.
I wanted to say, I don't know what you told your listeners that I was not here Sunday. We were not here Sunday. I don't know what you told them, but it might sound something like my mom accepted an assignment that she did not share with the rest of us or whatever. But yeah, I was out doing the Lord's will. That's where I was.
Yeah, that's why we were not live. I did tell them that we were, because I went live later that day.
Okay.
I told everyone that you had a ministry assignment, and
yes,
and you book these things, and then we book podcasts, and you realize we're double booked. So there's that. There's that.
It's the Lord's will that I do His will.
It is the Lord. I hope they gave you a good offering.
They did. Thank you.
Then it is God's will. All right. So hey, lovely lady. Hey, lovely lady. 37177. I hope you're well. Hey, Daryl. How are you?
Hi, Daryl.
Okay, so let's get into the things of the things. We left off talking about the emotional pull, the all things pull on you all from me being in that space of the call. And then I said, well, let's talk about, I think people can, we talked about basically how we navigated through it. Mm-hmm. And we also talked about how we have been overcoming behind it in the past, now that it's over. But let's talk about how a family can lead up to their parent or their child, or what a family member rather, being seduced or manipulated to join a cult. Mm-hmm. All right. So,
well, I would just from reflecting back. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, there has to be a certain amount of nurturing that goes into the sons and the daughters. There has to be a certain amount of attention mm-hmm. paid to the sons and daughter, because see, what we don't want it to appear or seem like doing the will of God equals detriment. Yeah. That is not the message. When we in a balance do the things that we have been called to do based on what God has called us to do, and we include everything, the rearing of our children, the nurturing, and all of these pieces and parts, we have to make sure that it becomes balanced. The ministry is good. God had called us to ministry, mm-hmm. but nothing should take the place of creating a healthy family, because it's then that we can do ministry, when the family is good. No, seriously, right. Good. Right. Unfortunately, our mistake, hindsight says that we maybe had it twisted a little bit. And of course, some of that shows, but the scripture, we're going to pull it out, Romans, and we know that all things work together for the good. So we're not going to rule God out and make it look like because we were serving God, mm-hmm. all of the bad happened. No, God takes the adversity of us all, and he makes it works together for our good, if no more than us learning from the experiences, if no more than that. But I would say, Vincent, not only for yourself, but if we can look back and see where we should have given more attention. You were heavily involved. Your sister was there, but you were heavily involved in the ministry, because the Lord had called you to preach at a young age. And right while I'm there, I can't get off track, but right while I'm there, if I had to do it over again, I would go against your will and tell you, no, you're not going to preach. You're going to grow up. You're going to mature.
Yeah.
You're gonna understand some things because you are a good preacher. But a lot of people are good preachers, and their character, their their integrity,
Yeah.
it needs a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
And you needed work because you were a child, if
Right.
I'm allowed to say that. You were a child.
Child, yeah.
And we should have been working on your integrity. We should have been working on your character,
Right.
not just over the top excited because you was a good preacher.
Yeah.
That happens in the church world. We get caught up with the good, how the preacher preached.
Yeah.
And when we find out that joker, he or she had lacking a lot in the spirit type thing.
Yeah.
And so we should have, I would say myself, and which is one of the disadvantages of husband and wife called in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even know what to tell someone with that, is that part of it. But I, as the mother, while he was doing, the pastoring, what God had called him to do, it doesn't relinquish him from the whole idea that he should have been a father in your life as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the roles of a mother, when the dad is out making a living, when the dad is serving in the military, when the dad is out doing what fathers do, it's the mother's role to make sure the children are not only disciplined, but are nurtured. I couldn't play the role of the father, but the nurturing, showing you the ways that, son, that's good. You're a good preacher and all that. But let's work in this area right here.
Right.
All of that is developing you, preparing you for the world outside, the church world, the natural world.
Mm-hmm.
And so a whole lot of it was because you didn't get the nurturing, the spiritual nor the mothering, fathering nurture that you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so as time went on and these things were introduced to you, you were in a space, in a place like, wow, because now let's go back just a tad bit. You were in Germany where you were doing ministry. You was excited. But when you got to the place of the real life being in your face, introduced to you, you didn't do well, as in terms of being prepared for an answer to these things presented to you, type thing, And so we didn't prepare you. I would say to anyone listening, we have to prepare anywhere we go, any facet of life, anything introduced to us, we have to be prepared for it. Did God prepare us? If he didn't, it's because we didn't give him a doorway, a segue to help us prepare you. We were doing ministry, whatever that means. It can mean one thing to somebody and something different, but we were doing the will of God, and so many little areas that we missed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you was introduced to that, I would say it was attractive. And let me say why I say that was because you were so accustomed.
Introduced to the cult?
Yeah.
You said that, and so I want to make sure everybody know what you're talking
about. The cult. Yes, my apologies. When you were introduced to the cult, if you will, you were not prepared. So it was attractive because, first of all, you were around other children your age and other young people your age. Let me say it like young men, young women. And so it was something different. I wouldn't say that you were caught off guard. What I will say, you were not prepared for the strength of that. You were not prepared. You knew a servant, you knew a ministry as to be follow the leader. Your dad was the leader. Your dad was a good man. He was an honest preacher. He was pure in what he knew. He didn't have any alternative motives. And so that's what you knew. So when you met someone that it appeared that they were pure as your dad, you took the bait, the what is the little ball on the bait? You swallowed it all because you took it to be what you knew. Little did you know, everybody, you grew up in the church world where if they said they were saved, they were saved. If they were a man of God, they were a true man of God or woman of God. Let's go both directions here. And so when you were introduced to it, you swallowed the bait, the ball, the hook, and all, because it's what you knew. You knew if someone said, God said, you believed it, because that was the culture, the Christian culture, the church culture that you were brought up in. And so when you saw something different, you didn't know it to be different. You took that man or woman of God at their word because it's what you knew. You knew the purity, the perfection. There was no perfection, but you knew the purity, the serving the Lord with a pure heart, what that looks like. And so this is how I feel that you got caught up in that thing. You know, you didn't take the time to ask God, is it true? Is it real? Because you always knew it. The ministry in Germany, the leaders of Germany, and all these different Oklahoma, these places that we were stationed, you knew them to be the men and women of God they say they were. So you took it as a whole over blanket that everybody is who they say they are. And that's my take of it. I'm sure I left a lot of it out, but to capsule it, you took it at word value.
Okay, so are you saying, because that was a lot? So are you
That
saying
was a lot. Yeah.
so let's narrow it down. What were you saying was the part in how we got there again?
Okay. The lack of preparation. You
Mhm.
were being raised and reared to do God and to do God in a honest space and this type of thing, but you were not prepared for anything other than the culture you were in.
Gotcha. Oh, tracking.
Yeah, the culture you were in. We failed to tell you that there are wolves out there in sheep clothing.
Tracking.
We failed to tell you that every man that say he's a man of God
Right.
don't take it word value. Watch the fruit that's bared on that tree. We
Gotcha.
did not prepare you.
Tracking.
Yeah.
Tracking. Okay. 10 4, 10
Oh,
4.
I said all of that just to say that right there.
Yeah, because no, that's true. That's a real thing, because I have a friend, and we as adults, we used to have that conversation a lot. Like, it's still culture shock to us to find out preachers really be lying.
Right.
It's
Right.
it stings a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
what we saw, what was preached, we really believed that the men of God was supposed to be above tier. So
Mm-hmm.
it took a lot of wearing down
Mm-hmm.
truly accept the fact that this particular man of God I was following was not that.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds small.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you restated it, because it could have gotten lost in the thing, but that is huge right there. That's huge.
And it is.
Okay, Dad, what do you have to say?
I would to add on to it, um, that preparation. I also would say uh, missing the clues where
Mm.
there was pressure on you. Even though you was a good preacher, even though people was inviting you to come out and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
the times that I missed it was the instance when you come and say, look, at the time you was a deacon, you wasn't a minister yet, and you said, look, I'm done, I'm through. And you
Mm.
threw your license at me, and I told you, no, you ain't. And I threw them back at you. I say, and I used the terminology, when you throw in the towel for
God
God,
throw it
God
back.
gonna throw it back at you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned a little bit better now, but
He
I
will throw
think
it at you.
those times was clues
Mm-hmm.
that you was under a lot of pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the young age, I was looking at it as you enjoyed doing what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Enjoyed doing what you, and I was looking at that
Uh-huh.
instead of looking at the person. I was looking at the spiritual side.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at the humanistic side
Yeah.
Humanistic,
or
yeah.
humanistic side.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's, matter of fact, I know that's where
Mm-hmm.
I didn't prepare you, because even though I was your dad, I also was your pastor.
Right.
And I should have been preparing you for the human side of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I believe that was one of the key. One of the other keys is when you broke down outside and you were just crying. There was
Wow.
another crying
Wow.
out
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't receive the clue
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that this
Mm-hmm.
young man
Mm-hmm.
that was a teenager carrying on a ministry and people calling them because now I'm thinking you can preach. You know,
Heaven knows.
you give him a mic now, but watch out. But anyhow, praise the Lord.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
but I missed the clue.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and to those that's watching, don't miss the clue of your child being under pressure, regardless of what it is, whether it's ministry, whatever, even going to school, don't miss the clue. And in this dispensation now, you can easily miss the clue of your children.
Wow.
Yeah.
You missed that cry, huh?
You can miss the cry.
Wow. Wow. That's so true.
You can even to the point now, and I'll just go ahead and add this in. Suicide.
My God. Right.
Suicide.
Yeah.
Don't miss the clue.
Don't miss the clues. Yeah.
They're under too much pressure.
My God. That's so true.
And I believe if we would have got that clue, that could have pushed you in a different direction. Now, several things went on that, one, you had to leave Germany. 12th grade, you had to leave Germany. For one, we look back on it. I probably could have did something different, but at the time, I saw $10,000 in order for you to stay there.
And let's give some context real quick to for this story. Because my dad had retired, and so he had to wait 6 months to get a government job that would pay for my schooling. And I was last semester of my 12th grade year.
Right.
So I had to fork out $10,000 immediately, or I had to leave Germany in less than 30 days. So, that's just so context. People know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Wow.
So there was another entity to where you was plucked up from nice, secure environment.
The culture he was familiar
and
with.
Never, when you really think about it, I think you might have went to one public school, all the rest of them was art schools.
Right.
So you had another small classrooms, everybody knew everybody because you was in the same community.
Right.
So it's a whole lot of things that went on that I think we could have did different. If I had to do it all over again, I would have had to went out and got me a second job or whatever.
You wouldn't have had to.
Kept you in school.
No, you wouldn't have had to. And let me, y'all forgive me for interrupting, because what we know now, we didn't know then, because God told him to stay in Germany. The same God, had we beseeched him, had we gone to God and say, you know what, God, you told us to stay here. This baby is at a place, this young man is at a place where his education has to be paid for. In high school, don't you know the same God that told us to stay was more than able to spit up? You could have swept the floor and found $10,000,
Yeah.
But that's not where we were then.
Yeah. Again, your faith holds you back. Your faith. I was pastoring, yes. Didn't have a book, nothing else. So again,
A book
to see how you pastor.
Oh, manual.
Man.
Oh,
so you didn't have none of that,
Yeah.
So and you didn't have nobody you could fall back on. Well, how did you do it?
Yeah.
When it was time for your children to go to school, how did you take care of it? So again, the other part too is that I believe another one of the big factors is we had circumstances to happen to where we had two churches open up, and the people that was in charge of them, they decided to be rebellious or whatever. So we had to make a quick decision, because now I'm still in Germany. You and your mother's in the United States. And so we had to put somebody in charge. And so we thought we had it all fixed, and come to find out it wasn't. So then again, I'm leaning on the spiritual man. not realizing the spiritual man was not ready yet.
Right. Right.
And so another thing to put on is all of that
Wow.
and a whole lot in between, but all of those are the key factors
Mhm.
that I believe that if we'd have did them different,
Got it.
it had a different outcome.
Yeah.
So basically what both of you all are saying is that you had a son that was special, super special. I got saved at 14, 14, was preaching by 15.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew that, the term that we've used a lot in religious spaces, the hand of God was on my life.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So you all hit the gas pedal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And roll that almost as if, okay, we got a responsibility to raise this man of God up. But
Right.
in that, you did not know that there were some nurturing and some attention that was needed in the very practical human.
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's important. I'm glad y'all said that, because it's important, because someone might think, well, my kid ain't on drugs. My kid ain't out there playing basketball with them hoodlums. He in the church want to go to every choir anniversary. Don't know that your son can be, or child can still get lost in the fray.
Yes.
It don't matter if the child behaves good or not. It don't matter if the child wants to be an apostle or wants to be a doctor. This child does not get a certain kind of attention. This child can be left open for anyone to
Absolutely.
take.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, is important. I thank you guys for sharing that, because probably our audience has more of probably more can align to you all's testimony of raising them up right, raising them how they should go, and things go wrong. I will say that if we had to sum it up, because it's not enough time to really get into the nitty gritty of anything, because we left a lot on the for the last episode. It was that I think that by the time I got to 23, when I joined that ministry, I was already sort of trained to ignore the parts of me that were crying out. So I wasn't even listening to my own cries.
Right.
And so it created a situation where I served the quote unquote man of God, and I did ministry because, okay, by then I'm clear. I am supposed to be 10 toes down for God, And and that's what it is. What would let me see here. And let me say this as well. And we're going to read you guys' comments in the chat. I was at the time I was 100% gun-ho with all of the decisions you all made. So I wasn't like I was fighting. I believe if I told my parents I don't want to go to the States and they really heard me, they would have done something different. But I think we all, and let me know if I'm right or wrong, we all sort of agreed this was the will of God for my life. So it was like there was no questions. There was no
God was taking you to new territory.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that.
And now, mind you, I'm 17, so I didn't have the faculty. But what I'm also trying to say is, like my mom, I think, Mom, you said it great. Against your will, I would have slowed you down with the preaching. And the reason why I think that's important, because I want to lean into, in our story, I was doing a good thing. I was doing a proper thing. It wasn't just because sometimes we like to, let me say this. Sometimes we will ignore the good child and put all of the attention on the bad child. Not saying that's y'all, but we got to speak to a greater audience.
Right.
And so this might be a message for those of you that are parenting that child that gets straight A's and always do good and always listen. Just because they're listening and doing good don't mean they don't need that extra attention.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, because I am an emotional person. I'm a very emotional, and still am, and I make no qualms about it now. I'm fine with it now. And so I know I did need a lot. I needed way more emotional nurturing.
Right.
Probably say that more than Vanjie and PJ did. I think that they were able to handle things differently, where for me, looking back now, I needed a lot of emotional nurturing, though I was a very independent child.
Oh, yeah.
I was extremely independent, didn't like to be touched, didn't want to be bothered, leave me alone. I just want to do what I want to do. And for that was ministry. So it's like, I'm doing ministry. I look back now, though, I needed a lot of emotionally nurturing. So I think this situation might not fit everybody, but I think you can take some lessons out of it and apply it to your life. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for coming on here and sharing. A lot of times it's easy to be like, well, look what this person did, but then don't want to be like, well, here's what I did. And I think why that's important is because it don't start when you meet an abuser. It don't start when you meet a manipulator. It starts well before that. And so thank you guys for coming on. What we're going to do is read some comments real quick, and then we'll go to commercial break. We'll come back with final words. Okay. Let's see here. Where are we at with the comments here? John Forrest says, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Sheridan said, right. You remember John there. Yeah. Sheridan says she's preaching already. This is our family. Hey, Gloria Jackson, how you doing?
Hey, Gloria.
Do not call her by her other name because she let me have it when I call her by her family name.
What is it? T?
Yeah, that start with a T. Yeah, she's
okay, gotcha. Get it by name.
Hey, Gloria Jackson. Let's see here. T-Ball says, I'm glad Mom touched on that point on letting kids be kids before launching them into ministry. Here is a reality, and I don't want to be anti because I think that is nothing wrong with starting ministry early, but slowing that child down will not take them away from ministry. No. If ministry is really in them, it's going to be in them for what?
It's going to be in there. Yes.
I shared with my dad. I said, there are some things that I wanted to do. Like I had a conversation with my dad on Sunday that put me in touch with some things that I forgot, which was I really did want to finish college. But I didn't pay that much attention because that didn't matter as long as I was in ministry. And so I think that I would have been a better minister because I could have preached more well-balanced.
Yeah, more disciplined,
more well-balanced, more like a holistic word versus y'all young folk out there laughing at the church. You need to be praying. That's not what no 15, 16, 17-year-old should be preaching, Let's keep it honest.
Right. Teenagers
should be preaching about teenager things. Right? How can you preach about teenager things if you're not being a teenager? So I want to share with all parents, giving that space, parenting that child to be a teenager or whatever they are is not going to slow their ministry down. Hey, Fresh Strawberries, how you doing? 9 Billion says, hey, Mom and Dad. Oh, hey, VTH. Whatever, 9 Billion. Whatever.
oh, hey, VTH.
Let's see. God's Diamond Girl says, hi, all V, Mom and Dad Hill. Hey. Bill Clinton says, hello, Bill Clinton.
Hello, Bill.
That's so funny. Sheridan says, this is good. Gloria Jackson says, this is awesome. Cash says that is definitely a real thing, and that was to your point, Mom, about not preparing a child for the real world. She says, I grew up in church, and the culture was that you do not question men of God. It was taboo. Yeah. Let's see. Angel Heart says, my bad. These awesome, Mama Hill. That is so true. That is a real thing. Joanne Lore says, good afternoon, family. Hey, good afternoon, Joanne. Angel Heart says, amen, Pastor Hill. Thanks for truth and knowledge. God bless you both.
Thank you.
Yana True One says, good afternoon, family. The Juice Radio and Talk Show says, hello, everyone.
Oh.
And let's say we're almost done. And then Big Bob TV. Hey, BT. Hey, Mom and Dad. I love the family dynamic. Thank you so much, Big Bob News TV. All right, then. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some final words. And then we will get on out of here. This has been a great, 35 minutes in. Yeah, we're going to get on out of here. We will be right back.
Hello, my name is Pastor Perry Hill. I am the founder of Lifeline Prayer Center.
I am Angeline Hill. I am the vice president of Lifeline Prayer Center.
I'm Vito Hill, the founder of Safe Space.
We would like to invite you to our conference,
Impartation 2025.
a cross-generational family conference.
Our generation deserves to serve God without constraints of cultural or religious beliefs.
The purpose of this event is to bridge the gap from one generation to the next. That different styles of worship are done in unison to the divine one, and the power of God may be felt like Pentecost.
Honoring God based on who you know God to be from the depths of our hearts, that everyone will feel the love of God with no limitations.
For more information,
go to lifelinepresscenter.com
or scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys. It's episode 19. How did we get here? It's part 2 of episode 1 from last Wednesday on how to handle when you cannot control what's going on with your children.
Right.
Hold on for a second. Let's see here. This looks like a question before we get into the conference. Hey, everybody, I've been in physical therapy, so I'm late. That's where I am when I miss the midday. Okay, Cookie, I hope it went well. Let's see. After everything you've been through, VT, I think you are a better minister now. The disappointments of life add seasoning to your service. I think what happens is the life gives you more understanding of life, and you minister from your life. I really don't like the kind of talk like, you skip over everything and disappointments help increase ministry, because there's a person in between the disappointment and ministry. The way I like to look at it, Big Bob News TV, is that, for example, I understood Jonathan Lamb's position as someone that is a victim and a part of a network which makes him an abuser. And so this kind of, I'll give you an example, not to get lost in it. So we'll give you an example, mom and dad. Their child got SA'd by, I believe, their brother-in-law. But the mom and dad, who were the pastors, just told them, don't worry about it. God's going to handle it, and we're going to handle it. And they obeyed. Many people won't understand that. Unless you've been in a cult or a very cultish space, you won't understand how you could wipe away defending your child, because the people of God said, don't worry about it. But for me, because I've been in places like that, I fully understand it, which gives me more to teach about, preach about, and minister about. But it's from my life. So my life has more depth. So my relationships will have more depth. My thinking will have more depth, and my ministry will have more depth. And I think that, and that's just my little personal thing. But I do agree at the end of the day. Okay, so we have a conference coming up, March the 7th through the 9th. And I think that there are a lot of people, mom and dad, who are hurt, are in pain, or just feel misplaced. And they walked away from the entire God experience because they thought it had to be either or they felt like they could not go to a safe space. And I am talking to, if this is who you're talking to, I'm talking to you today, where we are creating, no pun intended, a safe space on March the 7th through the 9th, where you can be around, I'm going to give a church term, the people of God, and be treated like a person of God around the people of God. We're providing a space for you to be in a spiritual, religious space, but talk to a licensed therapist. We're providing a space for you to be able to dance, shout, express yourself, and not feel like somebody's going to come and sit you down, harm you, or judge you. That is the space we're providing. It is the Impartation 2025 conference, a family conference. The QR code beside me is a way that you can scan it and get all the information on the conference, and the lifelineprayercenter.com is the website. All right. As well, ask us anything and we will answer as it relates to the conference. Mom and dad, can you talk about the conference and give us closing remarks?
I would like to talk about the conference labeled a family conference. Yes, it is the Heal family, but your family as well. You meaning not just you bring me that wayward, what we call wayward, or that son or daughter that you know is hurting, that one that perhaps you were the perpetrator, perhaps something happened in their lives that they became bitter against the church. And bring that one, bring the grandkid, bring grandchildren, just bring the family as much as you can, as many as you can get to come, so we can experience the healing together. We don't want to just get healing for ourselves, but we want those around us to experience the same wholeness, the same wellness, the same love of God, the same experience of what love feels like, true God love feels like. Not that love that perhaps you were introduced as Vincent was. We were helping him, but perhaps we kind of missed the love part, the love of God part. So bring them. It's not just the Heal Family Conference, it's family conference.
Right.
So we encourage you to bring your families. Make sure you share this with somebody. Subscribe, share, and like this. You're going to be glad you did.
Absolutely.
I'll also like to add that therapist is coming, as BT said, but we also have someone that's coming for the young mother.
Yes.
Might not have a quite good understanding for rearing a young child. Someone that's got their doctor's degree in early childhood education to also come and speak and sit down and talk with you all, those that desire. So we are building this conference from the youngest to the oldest. You can find you a spot in this conference where you can be blessed and ministered to. Don't let someone tell you about it. Come and see about it all by yourself. We are waiting for you. The space is already prepared. We went down there on last week, walked through the place, prepared just for you, you and you. Come be with us.
Absolutely.
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
Planes, train, everything in that same area where you can come in. Make your way now. I told the people on this morning, I say, now's the time if you're flying in to buy your tickets.
Yes.
Gas prices
Are down.
is down. Ticket prices are down.
Right.
So go ahead, get your ticket. Make the reservation. We are limited. We are limited to 200 reservation, 100 rooms.
Right.
So get in early.
Right.
Get in early.
Absolutely.
See you there.
There it is. Gassy says, good afternoon to the Hills family, Pastor and Lady Hills, VT, and everyone. Love.
Thank you, Gassy.
And Sheridan says, I pray God blesses the conference abundantly. Amen and amen.
Sherry, coming? Are you able to come?
Yes, Sheridan. If you really wanted to be blessed abundantly, go ahead and click that registration button and join us in Charlotte. I love. Okay, we will see you guys at 1 p.m. on this Sunday. And then let me look at this calendar again. And then, okay, well, we got another week before Christmas. Okay, we'll see you guys at 1 p.m. on this Sunday. Y'all be all the way blessed.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Pastor Perry Hill. I am the founder of Lifeline Prayer Center.
I am Angeline Hill. I am the vice president of Lifeline Prayer Center.
I'm Vito Hill, the founder of Safe Space.
We would like to invite you to our conference,
Impartation 2025.
A cross-generational family conference.
Our generation deserves to serve God without constraints of cultural or religious beliefs.
The purpose of this event is to bridge the gap from one generation to the next. That different styles of worship are done in unison to the Divine One, and the power of God may be felt like Pentecost.
Honoring God based on who you know God to be from the depths of our hearts, that everyone will feel the love of God with no limitations.
For more information,
go to lifelinepresscenter.com
or scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen.